This week's Lionheart Player of the Week from the Pirates is Nevaeh Drake. Nevaeh is the definition of consistency. Every week, week in and week out, she comes to play, and this week it paid off as she got her first flag pull of the season on defense. Nevaeh does a great job. She has a great skill set. She's always encouraging, always smiling. Nevaeh, for your efforts this week, you are our Lionheart Player of the Week.
This week's Coach of the Week, sponsored by Exquisite Irrigation and Lawns, goes to none other than a Spartans head coach, Mr. Curtis Hahn. Curtis Hahn is a great example of what it means to coach youth in such a competitive manner. He keeps things the main things. He relates to kids on such a practical level. He talks about resilience. He talks about the desire to want to do good and to win. But at the same time, we got to keep our character in check. So, Curtis, man, thank you so much for coaching. You are this week's Coach of the Week, sponsored by Exquisite Lawns.
Welcome to episode 50. We did not think
Is that your age?
Well, not yet. When does this film actually? Or when does it air? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not yet. We did not think we would make it to 5, but we've made it to 50.
Yeah, we're
which
doing
is
good.
Awesome. So, and because it's 50, we have a very special guest that is near and dear to my heart. Miss Mercedez Mabry is with us today.
Hello.
And guys, there are very few people in my life that I've heard their story and immediately thought, I have to meet this person. And Mercedez is one of those people. And I'm glad I got to meet her because not only is she a cool person with a cool story, but she's a fantastic police officer, currently with Grand Prairie PD, formerly with Euless PD, which is how we know each other. Not to mention the fact that you are married to one of my dear friends, so that helps a little bit too. But Katrina, she is fantastic, and so
I'm looking forward to this conversation for sure.
Yeah. So, do you want to introduce our topic a little bit?
Yeah. So today, our topic is just kind of getting cut from the team and how to handle rejection. So we'll hear from Mercedez, but the bulk of this is if you are a mom or a dad or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, and your kid gets cut from the team. They didn't make the volleyball team or they didn't make the football team. How do you handle that? Or how do you handle just like sitting the bench? Like, what do you do with that?
Right.
As a parent, you want your kid to play just as bad as they do.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's almost like a double whammy. Like, you don't want your child to be rejected. It's almost like a personal attack, in some sense. But if we learn how to handle rejection the right way, man, there is freedom on the other side of that. There are new places and new spaces that our kids are designed for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so today, as we hear Mercedez' story, we'll wrap it back around to that.
Right.
But yeah, let's talk about rejection.
Yeah, let's do it. And I know you are going to be humble because that's who you are. And I'm going to ask you to just take the training wheels off today and just tell it like it is. Because if you don't brag on you, I will. But let's start in the place where are you from? How'd you get here? Just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Colorado. I was born and raised up there in a little town called Craig. Nobody knows where that is. It's up by Wyoming.
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000 people population.
Small town.
Yeah.
I was up there, and I lived there for about 20 years, and I grew up in a home that wasn't very privileged. I would say my childhood dealt with a lot of abuse and drugs and things that a child probably shouldn't see.
Yeah.
But I used that to my advantage. So I went from living house to house, car to car, couch to couch with my mother, to actually being taken away and put in foster care when I was 15.
Wow.
I raised my little brothers before that. So
How old were they?
One. The one that was with me in foster care was 5.
5. Okay.
That's the one I raised. And he had some mental health issues. So we were put in foster care and went through that. And that was a big transition for me because you're taking me from something I know and then
totally.
putting me somewhere else.
Yeah.
And at that point, I lost a lot of hope. What's next? What's next for me? But then that was when I was given the opportunity to live my life, be a kid. And that's kind of when it started for me. I started doing basketball. I excelled in that. That was my outlet in high school. That's what helped me a lot. So after graduated high school, I went to college. I got a full ride scholarship. I was not expecting to get that at all.
Yeah. In basketball?
I'm sorry?
Your scholarship is for basketball?
No. It was just a full ride scholarship. It's called the Daniels Fund.
Okay.
My high school counselor was like, hey, sign up. And I was like, no. He was like, yes. So I did, and I got it. It's rare, but it's a full ride. They pay for anywhere you want to go.
That's awesome.
It was pretty great. It's a great program. So I did that, and I was like, I'm not going to be working at Taco Bell for the rest of my life. That's kind of cool.
So let's go back a little bit to how long were you in foster care?
So there it was an age out. So I was technically in it until I was 21. But I was in the home for 3 years.
Okay.
4 years.
With one family?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you said 2 younger siblings, right?
With me was just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and he was 5?
Yes.
All right. So at that point in your life, you've gone through, you don't really know what normal is.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of feelings are associated with that when you're in foster care and you've been through all that?
Oh, it's a lot of it is just confusion. It's betrayal, trust issues.
Yeah.
Rejection almost, because it's like, why did my family want me? Why is this happening? It was a lot. It was a lot for a 15-year-old to deal with.
Yeah. And so we'll come back around to that, but there's also a success story there. I mean, you get the college scholarship. You go to college?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where'd you go?
I ended up at Colorado Mesa University.
Right. Nice. And so out of that, let's pick up from there. So from college, where do you go then?
Police Academy.
Okay.
In Colorado?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that backstory too. So you go to Colorado, the Police Academy, and then what happens from there?
So while I was in college, I chose to do criminal law first. I did not choose criminal justice. I chose psychology. But anyway.
How did you get to criminal justice?
So I started with psychology because I just loved learning about that, learning about why do people do certain things, learn about the mind. And then I realized I don't want to sit in an office. Boring.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So then I chose nursing, and then I was like, no. So then I met actually a retired canine officer who was like, do this.
Yeah.
So I chose that. So I went through with that, and I went to the police academy there. And their police academy works where if you're hired, that department sponsors you. If not, you just go and then you wait to get hired. Well, I wasn't sponsored by anybody yet, but I knew a lot throughout the academy when I was working my butt off. I met a lot of people. And at the time, they were like, you're going to be hired with us. Like, you're ours. You're going to be with us. And so the whole time I'm just working so hard just to prove myself to them, to show them, yes, you're choosing the right person. And then towards the end, I was told, no, you are not going to be hired with us.
Do you know why they told you no? Like all up to that point, they were saying, you're going to be one of us, you're going to be one of us. And then all of a sudden, no.
So,
what did the no stem from?
There was no clear answer.
Okay.
They can deny you for anything, pretty much. Mine, I feel like, had to do with small town know-it-all, my family's history and stuff.
Okay. So you got judged based on your family.
That's what I believe.
Right. Okay.
So I went from there to being like, well, what now? And that was probably the hardest thing because I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. But I applied to several other places, a various amount of other places, probably at least 7 more up there. I've rejected. Like, I would drive hours to prep for an interview and be told no, and then would have to go back and restart all over again. I was a server at the time, so I was waiting tables, and I still knew everybody, and they're like, you're going to get it, you're going to get it. And I was like, I don't know when. But I finally reached to a point where I was like, there's nothing here for me.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. And
that's when I decided, I'm going to move. And I just up and left, and I came to Texas.
Yeah. Why Texas?
Well, at the time, it was a ex-boyfriend who was moving down here. And he's like, I'm moving. And I was like, I'll go with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, why not? I didn't have any other desire to be in Colorado anymore. There's no reason for me to be there. And so I came down here, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm in Texas.
Did you land in Euless? How did you get to Euless?
Oh, so Euless, actually, the crazy part about Euless is, so I applied to several places here, even detention positions before Euless, and I still got denied. Right off the bat. You walk in, they look at your paperwork, they're like, this? Nope, denied.
Yeah.
And I was this close to giving up. I was working at a restaurant, and the manager actually asked me, so granted, let's back up for a minute. 2016 is when I graduated the police academy.
Yeah.
I moved to Texas the beginning or end of 2018, around there. So I worked for 2.5 years trying to find a job.
Yeah.
So when I came here and I was being rejected, the restaurant manager was like, hey, I want you to be a manager. I was like, no, my passion is this. Like, from the get-go, they knew this is what I'm going to do. I'm not here permanently. But after rejection, I was like, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to consider this. Lo and behold, I had forgotten that I put in a job interest card. And what that means is online, Euless previously was, if you're interested in it, you sign up, and then they later will tell you when the test is.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot. And I got an email one day that said, our test is this day. I was like, one more.
Yeah.
Let me do one more.
One more.
So I did. And I applied to be a police officer. However, I didn't get it initially.
Todd?
Not my fault. Not my fault. Okay, so let me stop you for just a second.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And give some insight. Oh no, I was completely on board with her from the minute she walked in and started telling her story. But let me give some further insight that her story is not uncommon on the police application side of things. Like, it's very typical for you to get rejected multiple times before you get hired. And for someone in her case, she goes to all these places in Colorado, and I'm sure that there is a lot of small town drama associated with those applications. You come to Texas and you start putting in your application, and the first thing they do is look at it and go, why'd she get rejected by 8 different places in Colorado? There's got to be something there, so we'll move on to the next.
Okay. So rejection after rejection, it's on your history, if you will.
Yeah, and so it piles up.
Yeah.
And so you're not just dealing...
that doesn't do you any favors.
No.
Right.
No, because you're not just dealing with rejection. You're dealing with the fact that people are judging you for rejection at that point, which just compounds.
Yeah.
And it takes being able to sit with someone and tell your story, until people go, okay, maybe there's more to this than just the rejected pieces here. And so what I specifically remember about her when she came in is... I remember that, she had applied a lot of places like everybody else. I failed 3 places before I got hired. And in a similar fashion, I had already taken the test for Euless and just assumed it's not going to happen. And I had almost given up on the police idea at all. And then they called in a similar fashion and said, hey, we want you to come in for an oral interview board. And I was like, this is pointless, but I'll do it. And I remember the lady that was sitting at the secretary's desk when I walked in, and she's like, good luck. And I was like, yeah, whatever, And when I came out, they came out and said, congratulations, you passed. And that's the first time I'd ever heard that, hey, you passed an oral interview board. And I was like, wow, okay. So now I'm kind of in the same position she's in with Euless, except she was told, we want you to go work in the jail for a little while. Remember, I mean, she's still, you can see she's a baby face. Like she still is really young at the time. But, you know, part of it, I think at that time was she's coming from Colorado. She doesn't have a lot of roots in Texas. If we take a chance on her, what's to stop her from, you know, picking up tomorrow and saying, I'm going back to Colorado if it doesn't work out? Because the actual act of even the police academy, but especially field training, is full of rejection. Like every day you fail, like miserably. And it's very easy for people to go, you know what, this isn't for me. I can't do this every day. Because not only are you dealing with the public every day, but you're also dealing with your field training officers, and they specifically make it hard on you to test you. And so, you know, the thought process at the time, I think, was let's make sure she wants to be here before we invest even more in her. So she got an opportunity to go to the jail. And let me just say, I wanted to hire her as a police officer from day one, but her path went through the jail. So you can pick up from there.
Yeah. Actually, just to add on to that, it was the first department that even wanted to give me a chance in general. And so when they're like, hey, we would like to get to know you better, I enjoyed that. And so I took it. I was like, yeah. So I did part-time jail for a little bit. I still worked the restaurant, and then eventually it became a full-time. Now, they said, wait till the next test, wait till the next test. So I was in the jail for 8 months. Granted, I believe everybody should start in the jail because it just helps so much. People skills and all. But there was about 3 different tests, police tests, during that time when I was in the jail. And I would ask, the first 2 times I would ask, can I apply? Can I apply? Can I apply? They said more time, more time, more time. And I remember when the 3rd test came around, I said, okay, enough is enough. I went and I asked, am I ready or am I not ready in your eyes? And I remember specifically the chief at the time said, I have never had someone come to my office and tell me what I'm going to do. And sure enough, I took the test. And I got through. And I became a police officer.
That's amazing.
I can remember the same chief that she's talking about. I can remember him going, who's this girl? Like, who comes in here and says that?
I love it.
Yeah. So immediately I'm like, see, like this is why we hire this person. So, so with all of that, you've already faced just this almost insurmountable feeling of rejection your whole life, right? And you're putting yourself through all of this. And now, oh, by the way, you got to go through field training. Did you have to go back? No, you went back through the academy in Texas too.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is, what, 4 months or so long?
It was 6.
6 months,
July to December.
Yeah, so there's a lot there. And then you get put into field training, which is with, 4 or 5 different training officers over another, 3 or 4 months, something like that. And every day, like I said, it's failure, and it's teaching you failure. And you just feel like you're rejected every single day of that. But it's in that there's growth, and it's meant that way because it's almost like life where, we keep talking about on this podcast, you have to fail and then get up and move, right? You have to grow through failure. And that's what field training is designed to do, is to put you in situations where like your head is underwater and you have to figure out how to get out of that. Because literally your head could be underwater and you have to figure out how.
So going back to your story, you live with your mom and your brother, hard times, a little bit of homelessness, right? You get taken away from your mom. What inside you gives you the resilience at a young age to keep going? Like you mentioned earlier, I was almost going to lose hope, but I kept going. Like, what kept you going?
I've been asked that before, and it's the fire that I have. No one else is going to do it for me. And that's kind of how I was as a child. I had to kind of raise myself. So I was pretty independent, but it was just how do I say this? The drive it's just like, all right, I can be better. I can do better. And you know what? I'm going to show you I'm going to do that. Because I didn't want to be done.
Yeah.
It was just that drive. That's all I could think about. And additionally, there was other people who looked up to me. My little brother, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm a big advocate for trying to be an inspiration, even to people I didn't even know I was being that for.
Yeah.
It was just, there was no giving up for me.
Man.
So I'm going to ask you this because, well, since I've known you, you've always kind of had that edge, right? Like you've always had that drive, that desire. Do you feel like you still carry any resentment in your circumstance all the way back from when you were a child? Do you still carry that with you?
Oh yeah.
So what do you do with that? You know, because, and let me phrase the question a different way. Every day you go out there and you deal with a public that is by and large a good public, but the people that we deal with, the people that you deal with on a daily basis, man, that sounds weird to say, the people that you deal with, the people that you deal with on a daily basis now are an element of society that there is a form of rejection there because they don't like you. They don't like you because of what you wear. And what you represent, right? And so there is that constant, like, you know, it's almost a rejection type feeling from the public. So how do you not take your feelings from all the way back when you were a child and reflect those on the people that you deal with today?
So for me, it's a lot of the people that I do encounter on a day-to-day basis, even when they do not like us, police officers, I still try to treat them with respect. And a lot of the times it always comes down to they're just having a really bad day.
Yeah.
And then when they get to know who I am as a police officer and I treat them as a human and I share with them my experiences.
Yeah.
I can tell them I've been through that.
Right.
It kind of just changes the whole demeanor of what I'm dealing with at that time.
Yeah.
And so I use my experience to my advantage.
Right.
It helps me know, okay, I've been through this.
Yeah.
But this person doesn't know how to deal with it.
That's so good because so many people have a hard time realizing that the things that they've been through can be used for good.
Yeah.
And you've already figured that out. So you're ahead of the game for most people anyway. And so moving on to, you know, your career in law enforcement, and we talked a little bit about how difficult that can be to get started, get your foot in the door in the first place. But then once you get started, and, you know, we were talking a little bit about even at Grand Prairie, since you moved from Euless to Grand Prairie, there can be still, you know, animosity in the walls. You know, sometimes I feel like, you know, doing the police work and the dangerous stuff is the easy part. It's getting along with people. I think sometimes it can be the hard part. But an added element to that is you're female.
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about how difficult it was for you to be, or is for you to be, a female in law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. I will say my transition from Euless to Grand Prairie was scary.
Yeah.
To start out with, like at Euless, you know, it's small. You didn't see a lot of issues with being a female police officer there. And so when I was ready to move on, I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared to restart.
Yeah.
To get rejected again.
Right.
But I got hired first try.
Yeah.
And that was a big eye opener for me. But being a female police officer is, what's the quote? You're in a man's world.
Are you? Could someone tell my wife that?
It's like,
No, at work, you're in a women's world.
That is so true.
I can't remember the quote, but a male-dominated career. There we go.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
To be honest with you, it's not something I really look at. I've never really felt a type of way about being a female officer, but I think it more so has to do with how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Because I get it. You know, some guys are like, hey, can I trust you to carry me?
Yeah.
Can I trust you to back me up?
Yeah.
And you got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's part of the job. But what I have encountered is that judgment.
Right.
It's that judgment of, who are you? Can you handle yourself as a female? That's just been like the main issues I've seen.
Yeah.
But as I said, I haven't really focused too much on that. But on the streets, I feel like I get away with way more.
What do you mean by that? Wait, go back to you said that going to Grand Prairie was scary. I thought that was a very strong word.
Yes.
So what was scary about it?
The anxiety of trying again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So not dealing with the community or even with your peers, but just the idea of perhaps maybe getting rejected again.
Yes.
Okay, that was scary.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Big time. But hey, I got it.
You know, to that point though, like I think, you know, I asked you like what kept you going, and sometimes definitely it is your drive and your edge, 100%. A little bit of that though is just innocence and ignorance of being, being a teenager in you know early 20s, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we don't even know. You know, when I was that age, I didn't know the trouble that I could get in doing half the stuff that I did, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just keep going because, like, who cares, you know? Like, you're almost invincible.
Right.
But definitely, you can't go as far as you've been without a drive and without an edge. But
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, especially being that age, you're like, you're not going to tell me no.
yeah.
Right.
That's also another way.
Yeah.
Yes, it is that age.
But you're right. Like that works to your advantage because
Exactly.
I think of things that I did in my first 3 or 4 or 5 years in police work. Those are some of the same things that later on when I became a supervisor, I'm like, oh my God, don't ever do that, you know, to other officers. Because at the time, I can run, I can chase, I can fight, I can do all these things, but should I be?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I there's other ways to handle this so you don't have to do all that. But you're innocent at the time, and so you don't know.
Yeah.
But what you're saying about that extra feeling of rejection when you go to Grand Prairie and okay, is this going to be here we go again, and I'm never going to get where I want to go. But yet you've managed to carve your own path through all kinds of adversity, right? And now you're exactly where you want to be. And there's something to be said for pushing through even when you do feel rejected.
Yeah.
And just continuing on with what you know is right. So my question to you is, we deal with young athletes a lot, right? And so there is a lot of rejection that happens in athletics. You know, we're getting ready on Saturday. We've got some evaluations for a sport, and so we've got kids that come out for these evaluations, and when they run a 40-yard dash, or they're catching footballs, or whatever, they're shooting basketballs, whatever it is. What message do you give those kids about, you know, especially the ones that they can't make a shot, they can't catch a ball, and it just feels like rejection after rejection? How do you get down on their level, and what do you say to those kids?
So I can actually be in their shoes, thinking about that back in the day. But mine's more so is just imagine being Michael Jordan, for example, with basketball, right? Like, just fake it till you can make it. Like, just keep going. It doesn't. If you miss a shot, keep going. Just keep going. Keep going. There's not. No one's gonna stop you but yourself.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna tell you no.
Right.
But yourself if you don't want to keep going. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard because you're just gonna keep failing and failing and failing and falling down. But with that being said, it's just gonna make you better.
Yeah.
So just keep going.
Okay, so I'm going to take what you just said, and you're going to hate me for this, but I'm gonna apply that to marriage.
Okay.
All right. So when you fail in marriage, right? Same kind of thing applies. Yes. I mean, you keep going, you figure it out, right?
Absolutely.
How do you make that work in the home life? Now that you've been through all the things that you've been through your life, do you take those lessons into your marriage as well?
Absolutely.
And how does that work? What does that look like?
Well, a lot of it has to do with your own healing.
That's so crucial. Can you please say that again?
Yeah.
It does. I mean, that's what I'm actually doing for myself is I'm going back through and I'm working on what I haven't healed from. Because believe it or not, I have my own trauma still that haunts me.
Yeah.
But you take that, you heal as an individual, and you do it together with your partner.
Yeah.
And even though it's going to be hard, and every day is a challenge.
Yeah. Especially with your partner.
Yes.
But yeah, so my point behind that is failure comes in all shapes and sizes, right? But we carry those in every aspect of our life. And you said the magic word, talking about healing, and how, whether it's counseling or whatever it is that you have to do to find that healing. That's a process that you have to go through when you're even when you fail on a basketball court. Yes. And you go home at the end of the day and you're 8 years old and you didn't make the team or whatever it is, there's a healing piece that has to come with that. And so we talk a lot about our fathers and moms for that matter that have to have those conversations with their kids about, hey, look, you're great. Now you may not be a great baseball or basketball player yet, but you have value. Like you matter. Like you're somebody to God, right? That's important. What kind of things do you do personally that just continue to reinforce that you do have value?
One of the things is, you already said it, counseling.
Yeah.
That's something that I do for myself, and it reminds me of everything I have gone through, because sometimes I forget.
Yeah.
But doing that and helping realize that I have gone through all of that and I have triumphed.
Yeah.
And reminding myself on who I am.
Right.
On top of that, I stick to my own goals. I set a goal and I make sure I accomplish it, and it helps.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, just incremental steps. And we talked about that last week with Chris as well. So what are your goals right now? What's next for Mercedes?
Well, for my career-wise, I'm trying to move on from patrol and go up to more detective work. But with that comes training and such. So that's a long-term goal.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just my goals weekly, three days a week, gym, family time, counseling once a week. So it's just these small things small goals that I put together to make sure it can happen.
Right.
I tried this whole month goal thing.
Yeah.
And it
didn't work. Yeah.
So I realized the smaller steps is what helps.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said about with kids and being rejected, one thing that I want to point out for the kids, especially when they're dealing with, they didn't make the team or they didn't make enough points during game, that's something I wish when I was in high school that I did a lot sooner, was finding someone to talk to.
Yeah.
To walk me through those feelings.
Right.
Because it is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in high school, I was trying to be on the varsity team, but they call me Crash for a reason, so I couldn't get on. So I get that aspect, but what you can do with that, though, is, okay, if you get put on the junior team, even though you are varsity level, but you get put on this team, you can still be an inspiration for the junior kids.
Yeah.
And then help them out and then keep going.
Yeah.
That's a tangent.
No, that brought up another thing that, I was thinking about as you were talking, is we have a lot of kids that the least of their worries when they come in here is whether they make a basket, because they're going through stuff at home that we don't see and we don't know. So for those coaches that are coaching these kids and they're worried about basketball or football or whatever it is, what kind of thing, how does a coach relate to a child like that? Let's go back to when you were whatever age, 9, 10, what could have a coach said to you that would have been healing and helpful?
Man.
That's a tough question, I know.
It is. It is. I mean, all I can think about is it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because, I mean, that's all you think that you're doing every time you don't make it.
Right.
But what counts is that you just get right back up and keep going.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Is there a way that our coach, like if those kids are going through something brutal at home with, whether it be domestic violence or whatever they're going through, is there a way for our coaches to tap into that, do you think?
For me, I think it'd be one to actually be able to talk to them and see, hey, what are you going through?
Yeah.
Now, the other side of that is if they'll even
Open
Yeah,
up.
talk,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
But what the coach needs to realize, okay, if they are going through something but they're not going to talk, they need to realize that their sport and what they're doing is their outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to, one, back off just a little bit,
Yeah.
but let them try to be perfected at it.
Yeah.
Like this is what they're getting away from and using to have an
Right.
outlet.
That's
so
their outlet. Yeah.
you need the coaches that should see that
Mm-hmm.
and maybe try to work more with them on it.
Yeah.
Because that was something that I actually had happen. My basketball coach was my mentor.
Yeah.
She's the only reason why I ever went to basketball is because she would pick me up.
Right.
Right. But that's what she did. She just took me under her wing. And that's kind of what I see as what a coach should do is be a mentor.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's incredibly important. Soccer Dave mentioned about his relationship with failure and how failure is right there with him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he and failure are moving towards success.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he defines failure as just moving towards success. Like, you're going to fail, you're gonna fall, but you just got to get back up. And I think as parents and even coaches, it's so important to to develop a right frame of mind when we are dealing with kids. Because if you have, let's say a Taya who is a perfectionist, but yet she has a great home life, that's going to be different than a kid that grew up, like you. Like, you have to get to know the kids. And I think what you said was spot on. Like, they could just be using that sport as an outlet. And for a coach to be able to, see that, get to know that kid, and then know for a fact, hey, you know what, like, he's got a lot going on at home. Like, he needs this more than we need the W, if you will.
Exactly.
Like, that's huge for a coach, just to dig in deep and understand clearly what every single one of his kids needs.
Right.
That's hard and it takes time.
A lot of time. And that we constantly talk about relationship and building relationship. And that can be hard to do with kids in general.
Yeah.
But it also can be very rewarding.
Right.
Very rewarding. Man, we talked a lot about rejection, but yet you're the most successful person I know. Like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And story after story, we could sit here all day. I'm proud of you for everything that you've done and where you've gotten to. I'm biased because you're married to one of my best friends, but but also, like, you earned every step of the way, and you're to be commended for everything that you went through and still made it to where you're at.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. That's 50.
That's 50. Yep.
Yep. We are done. That's episode 50. We'll have another guest next week that probably won't be as good as Mercedes, but we don't know. We don't know. We'll see how it goes. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Man, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing us ramble about youth sports or other strangely interesting sports topics related to families, please go and like and subscribe to the show so that you can get regular updates when a new podcast is released. We'd also love to connect with you. Head on over to our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're under LC Sports and Recreation.
And if you're new to our podcast, go check out some of our previous episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's some good stuff on there. And pay attention because these come out pretty quickly, weekly, as a matter of fact. And you're going to learn a lot about what we have to say with regards to our league and how to win with the home team.